So tonight, let's get to see some of the demands of the citizens, which we'll be breaking down for you, so you can understand what exactly Yaga has been in forefront of some of these push. And if you look at the screen right there, you see some of what has become a major agitation ahead of the election. They say, if you want the election to be better, you better start planning to fix all of the loopholes. We agitated for the reforms of our laws prior to the 2023 election. That was what we saw in the Electoral Act 2022. But even at that, we still saw a lot of loopholes. So people are asking that INEC should truly be independent by removing the power to appoint INEC chairman and commissioners from the president, use a merit-based, open and time-bound process for INEC appointment.
Hello everyone, welcome to my channel TELECAST TV. I'm Miracle Angala. You're watching a conversation with Honorable Bayo Balogun, chairman of INEC Committee House of Representatives, speaking about the electoral reform for 2027 election. Can 2027 election be free and fair? We'll be discussing sensitive issue about it. Endeavor to watch to the end. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, subscribe, like, comment, and share your thoughts. Don't miss trending videos.
Citizens are also asking compulsory electronic transmission of electoral results to complement the manual transmission process and improve transparency. You know what has happened before? Before now, electronic transmission of result of any kind, either in the portal or in the IREF, are not backed by law majorly, only by the guidelines of INEC. And there are those who say that does not have the force of law. Citizens are also asking that the conclusion of all election cases before swearing in, just like we saw in Kenya, in Ghana, where if you are going to be removed by the court of law, that would have happened before you are being sworn in. And that's why you saw a lot of off-cycle election. There are a series of off-cycle election, about 8 or 9 of them. We see off-cycle election in states like Anambra, off-cycle election in states like Imo, Edo, Ondo. And the question is, there are elections that are being disputed over the years, and the tenure of those who were in office at the time have been impacted by electoral litigations. The fourth is early special voting, allowing security officers, INEC staff, journalists, election observers, and prisoners vote early since they work on election day. Some of us have not voted since 2003 or 1999, but we deserve the right to vote, even though we are on election duty. So also create Electoral Offences Commission to punish people who commit election crimes. And the sixth one is allow electronic voter card and other ID, national passport, etc. for voters. Since Beavers already has fingerprints and photos of registered voters, this will reduce voter disenfranchisement. And this is being pushed heavily by Yaga and their other allied organizations. So tonight I'm being joined by one of those who should be asking questions, holding him by the trouser, holding by his babariga, sometimes asking and poking him for the right answers. I'm being joined by Honorable Bayo Balogun, who is the chair of the INEC committee in the House of Representatives. Honorable, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Time is going.
Yeah.
We have just we have about a year and 7 or so months before the next election. It means one thing, that we need to ensure that our electoral laws or the bodies of laws are perfected. There is the ECOWAS, there is a standard for which election laws need to be on ground before an election. So how far, where are we as far as the electoral reforms and electoral law review is going?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me tonight. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, the Speaker of the House, for giving us the freedom to do our job as requested by the people. Because I'm very happy that when they said we should go and give Nigerians a law, an act that will ensure free, fair, credible, and inclusive electoral process come 2027. And tonight you are reading out what the people are asking for. And I can tell you, 99% of what you just read out have been taken care of by the amendments. And that shows that the kind of leadership we have is not the kind of leadership that teleguide you and that does not even listen to the people. We have a situation where we listen to the people, we put in our effort to ensure that what you want is what you give within the act. And if you go by what you just said, you started with, I think the only issue we're having now is the one of the appointment of the
INEC chairman and other
leadership. It has been so debatable. Yes, you talk about when you look at the procedure of election. Look, elections are won and lost at the units. With the system we have in place now, accreditation has been the major issue, and Beavers has been able to resolve the issue of accreditation. When it comes to appointment of INEC chairman, before that is even arrived at, it has gone through various evolution changes from what you've used before to what we have today, and we've gone through a lot of interaction with different groups, and from what we have, it's not just the president that takes that decision; it's even with the Council of States, and these are people. If you go through you say in discussion.
Yeah. No, the president takes the decision. He seeks the consent of the Council of State. But it's
it's something you
over the years. I mean, the president meets with the Council of State on Friday. On Tuesday, he announces.
The issue of appointing university lecturers and all this are part of the issues to ensure that you have neutral people who are not politicians. Look, if you talk about NJC, which body do you think you can entrust that responsibility to? That will not become.
So the question here is, Honorable, and that's why
because people are saying you change it to what? Yeah. Who should do it? And let me give you.
Let's debate it and let's look at what works. So they say he who pays the piper dictates the tune. Is it possible for someone to appoint someone and not listen to the person who appointed?
I gave you the example the last time.
Yeah,
the issue of Jega and Jonathan.
Yeah, Jonathan appointed Jega.
And he lost under the 2015 election.
But the question here is, there are those who say, if you look at the Constitution, where it says the president needs to consult the Council of State.
Yeah.
The Constitution did not say he needs to seek the permission. He needs to seek the approval. He needs to. The president, in fact, when it comes to NEC, for example, the National Economic Council meeting,
give me alternative.
No, we are having a conversation in front of. What are those things that Nigerians have been telling you?
You see,
there are those who are saying
some said use the civil societies. Some said the NJC.
No, the idea was that advertise it. When you advertise it, create a board of those who will interview them and appoint them for transparency.
The board
you advertise it.
Who are going to constitute?
You can bring for NBA, bring from the NJC, bring from civil society, and so that you have people who are independent. They are not partisan.
Who selects those who are going to be part of that board?
It's going to be enshrined in the law.
And no, that who should select them?
It's going to be enshrined in the law that these people, statutorily, just for a moment, statutorily,
if you apply.
Just for a moment, sir, the NBA president is voted for by the lawyers.
Okay.
Take, for example, if, for example, we have coming from the NJC, so the chief judge of Nigeria, is supposed to be seen as unbiased. So if you have 7, 8, 9 people, maybe in odd numbers, who come together, interview, and sit on the appointment of such people after it has been advertised, and there's a shortlisting, Nigerians will know that this has come from a fine and a refined process. So that's what Nigerians are asking for. Not a sitting partisan president from a political party appointing who will then now conduct his own election.
Even in Ghana, they have members of the political parties in their own electoral body.
Ghana is not Nigeria.
No, when you are citing an example, you cite this example.
When we see good thing, we take it.
You see what we are saying?
Yeah.
Look, the day you make NJC an interested party that will decide then fighting for the office of the NJC will become another tug of war. You see, we know ourselves. Even as of today, NJC have problem in their own elections. Even NJC, they are still in court in some of their elections. Look, and if you're talking about civil societies, what happened during the last one, when you cannot even differentiate NLC and Labour Party? You see, when civil societies themselves have become political parties, everybody is biased. And that's why the issue of the lecturers came in. Let people in the academia take over this situation. Most of the commissioners and all these people are highly proven technocrats. They are not politicians. And what we are saying is, I personally, I believe the issue is not even about who heads INEC. It is about who conducts the election. The day of the election, no INEC staff is on ground during the major electoral process, the election gone. No INEC staff. They are all ad hoc staff. They are your children, your NYC corpers. They are the one that takes care of the PO, assistant PO, and these are the people that makes or mere the election.
Let's say this and let's get it clear. Honorable, making laws is not about the feeling of those who make it. It's about the interest of those who law governs.
Sure.
When Nigerians say this is what we want.
What do you mean when Nigerians says? What we are saying is we get input from various quarters. It's not the loudest noise. It's not the loudest noise that is majority. Because
which one?
No. Sometimes some people can.
In the National Assembly, Honorable. The loudest noise gets the votes.
No. What we are saying, no. It is the numbers of people that makes the noise.
Yeah.
It's not just because it's loud. It is the number. It's the echo that you look when you look at voice votes. So what we are saying now is that we have input from various quarters.
Are you satisfied, Honorable, that recent appointments, about 3 or 4 of them, they said to be card-carrying members, those who have won the T-shirt of political parties, who now go ahead to conduct election in areas they have interest? Is that okay?
Let me tell you something. Look, you must talk about people who even have knowledge, because sometimes you think you bring technocrats. Even in governance, some people say, oh, bring technocrats. How many of them can blend into public service? They might be very good in their own private sectors, but how many of them can blend into public service? So it's about capacity, it's about who has the interest, because we are not going to start forcing people.
But so you don't agree that
it's not what about, it's the number that I said is the inputs that we get. Is the inputs that we get.
But you don't seem convinced that we should change the
No, you see, if at the end of the day, if majority, that's why I said when you are talking about majority, it's not because some people are saying the same thing, same people saying the same thing. But you get, when you have 50 samples, and like 28 is saying something, and 22 is saying another thing. Yes, if 22 is so loud than the 28, that doesn't mean they have the number.
Honorable,
yes, this is part of the input. I can bring you memos that people brought.
Are you a fan of football, the football game?
Sure.
You are. What team do you support?
Man City.
Oh, what's a shame. Yeah, on all teams in the world support Man City. But anyway, there are...
That's the team that has the highest trophy within the last 15 years.
5, 6, no, don't say 15. 5, 6 years ago.
From 11,
don't let
2010.
You might not
from
win.
2010 to today.
You might not win.
From 2010 to today, at least they have about 10.
But you know of, and you've heard, some referees in the English Premier League who are seen to be diehard or supporters of... Man United has always been accused of having referees, about 2 of them over the last year, who people will say, this referee is a Manchester United fan and a Manchester United supporter. And when you put that kind of referee, he could blow for any other game. But why blow for that? And that's why a lot of people...
Okay, let's be personal now.
So now, the question I will now ask you...
The current chairman, the current chairman, what's your impression about it?
No, I can't judge him. No. You know, as a journalist, I don't have the capacity to be able to judge. But the question I'm asking is that, why don't you take away any sense of bias from the game? So that at the end of the day, let the people be able to judge.
That's what we are saying.
When
Let
other
the
political
people...
parties other than the ruling party are saying, let's take away the power to appoint those who head or conduct our elections from partisanship.
You see, that's what we are saying the same thing. I said, we are talking about the people. Because you decided to listen to just a particular set of people. And we are supposed to listen to everybody. You bring in your memorandum, we see what you have, and you justify it. And many people have sat with some of them on this issue. Okay, you said this is what you want. And then we argue about this issue. We put down the cards. And most of the time, they cannot really sustain the argument.
But the argument is here. And Nigerians have heard. When would there be a public hearing on the electoral amendment?
We're going to start when we are working on the...
What stage are we now in the electoral
amendment? We've done the second reading. We are waiting for the Senate because we want to go on the joint committee to make it faster so that we can... our target is to be through with the whole thing before the end of October.
End of October?
We want the president to sign
for the public hearing. So you have about 2 months left.
Yes, the public hearing is going to be in September. We are going to do it simultaneously in the 6 geopolitical zone simultaneously. So,
we have the electoral reforms on one hand.
Yeah.
Because the reason why I'm asking is that there's a constitutional amendment part of it.
Yeah, the constitution. You see, part of what we are saying is some of these issues people ask for from the electoral act is that there must be consequential amendment of the Constitution.
So now the reason why I'm saying that I'm asking this question, which is procedural and is also overlapping. Yeah. I'm saying in some of the prayers in the bill presented by you, the bill was sponsored by you, is a constitutional amendment which will have effect on the electoral law. If you amend the electoral law before amending the Constitution, there's going to be a problem.
That's why we are working together.
So it means that the constitutional amendment needs to come also faster.
Yes.
Which is looking like a delay because constitutional amendment comes almost in the 3rd year of the 4 year of...
No, they are concluding their own latest by December.
Okay, so, and you want to do yours by October?
Yes, but we are working together with the two committees.
Because if you look at the prayer, the first prayer that you have in that bill is for the alteration of the Constitution to the effect that it will give power to regulate electoral timelines from the Constitution to the Electoral Act.
Yes, that is to cure the problem, the issue we are talking about, concluding litigation before swearing in. Because if we don't do that, because as it is, the Constitution gives 150 days between the day of election and swearing in. And the same Constitution gave 180 days for litigation for the tribunal, 60 days for the appeal, and in the case of governor, another 60 days for Supreme Court. That means 300 days. If you give a timeline of 150 days between election and swearing in, and you have 300 days for litigation, that means it's never going to be possible.
Right.
So we want to now amend the timeline, and again, also now remove it from the Constitution, because it's easier to amend it in the Act than in the Constitution. Because one will go to all the states.
Yeah, I wanted that part, so I think somebody is very cold and sleeping in the control room, because I wanted this to be displayed on the screen, and there's some issues at the back end, but we need to go on a break. And I'm worried about how fast we can get this done so that we can fix all of the gray areas. But I'm hoping that the person will be awake when we come back from this break. We'll take a break, everyone. Can we really remedy what some of you are angry when you were counting the votes? I remember when some of you were saying LUP 71, LUP 72. Some of you who were angry when they said there was a glitch, all right? All of those problems that you complained about, what can we do? Honorable Bayo Balogun is the chair of the Committee on INEC in the House of Representatives. He's been with us on the program. Thank you, Honorable. So the first one, and hoping that this is the constitutional review, all right, which is part of the body of reforms for our electoral process. So the first is, how can we ensure that all litigations end before swearing in? So it means that, just a moment, it means when we have election in February, presidential election, the litigation will have been concluded with before May 29. Is that right?
So what we are trying to do now is to reduce the tribunal period to 90 days and the appeal to 50 days. That gives us 150 days. Then we have the 21 days for filing of the petition and 14 days for filing of the appeal. By the time we put all these numbers together, we are looking at 185. So what we're putting now in the act is that the election will not be held later than 185 days to the swearing in. That is the end of the tenure.
Okay.
So with that, once we've removed it from the Constitution, they will now put the provision in the...
So say it again.
We will remove the powers, the power to determine the timeline from the Constitution. That's what from the Constitution. We now put it in the electoral. We now put the provision which will now say that the election will not be held later than 185 days to the day of swearing in.
So that means election might hold earlier than February.
Yes, that means you must have concluded the litigation before. Because
and
the time for litigation now will not be 185.
You don't need to altering the time of litigation.
No, we've altered it. We've reduced it from 180 to 90 and appeal 60. So there won't be Supreme Court for. I mean, there won't be 3 layers again for anybody. Like the one for governors now used to be tribunal, appeal, and Supreme Court. We've also made the appeal called the Court of First Instance for the governorship and the president.
So why don't you do it the other way? Because before Justice Salami era, he was before.
That's what amendment of law is all about. You see, if I should take all our amendments back to the committee today, almost everything will change again because it's dynamic. Law is dynamic.
Because the governorship election petition ended, it doesn't go to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
It was only the presidential.
You see, if our laws are made less ambiguous, with better clarity, there won't be so much appeal.
All right. Let's look at your second prayer, which is the HB 2169. And your prayer is a bill for an act to alter the constitution of the FGN as amended to grant the National Assembly power to alter timelines of election tribunals and for related matters, very similar to the first one.
Yes. The other one is for
to remove from the constitution into the electoral.
That one is for the pre-election matters.
That's
285.
285.
The first one is about 4 sections. I think section 68 and some other sections that affect the timeline for the state assembly, federal, national assembly, governors and presidents. That's the first one.
Those are consequential reordering of the electoral process, and which are very critical.
So once we remove them from the constitution, we now put them.
A lot of mathematics is also in that. So this is also the first prayer will be as is interrelated with the second prayer. One. So let's go to HB 2168. Your prayer here is a bill for an act to alter section 239 of the Constitution of the FGN 1999 as amended to extend the original jurisdiction of the Court of Appeal to include election petitions arising from governorship and deputy governorship election, tenure of governors and deputy governor of state, and for related matters. I do not agree with this one.
No, so that means
the one that you want to take
tribunal. They move them away from the tribunal.
I think you should start from tribunal as a trial court, then end at the appeal court, just like you used to have it.
Well,
that's my opinion anyway.
It has been so much debated, and we ended up with this position. Even the litigation lawyers, election litigation lawyers were also invited. We invited various sections of people. Even the court of appeal judges were also invited. So these are issues that we've taken input from various sectors of the
because I believe that the governorship election is a local election, and the technicality of a trial in a governorship election, I just imagine I should start from the tribunal, because I'm wondering what was your intention, or what brought you to the point where you said to yourself that
it's not about me, it's about the people.
But this is your prayer.
Yes, what I'm saying is
this is your proposition. I'm
not a lawyer. I didn't produce it. It's what the bills the memos that people brings in.
Just help to push it.
Now just push it into law. Because most of the time people will say we want this, but how do you convert it into law? That's what I do with my own aides. To now say, okay, these are these are the bills, I mean, this memorandum coming from people. Okay, what does it intend to achieve? Then how do we help them to achieve it? Yeah. So that's how we're able to get all these bills out.
The fourth HB 2173.
And again, one advantage of that that provision now is that why the State and National Assembly are in the tribunal, then the presidential and governorship will be at the appeal. So by the time they are moving from the appeal to the Supreme Court, the one of the State and National Assembly will now be going to the appeal. So we will now have a spread.
Honorable, let me just give you a little bit of insight, because as far as it's concerned, elections in Nigeria, have become a media election expert. And with a lot of, knowledge gathered over the years, not only in our jurisdiction, but also outside of our jurisdiction. So one is going to be speaking based on what should work, based on our culture. And I would suggest that, and it's collapsible after elections, there are a lot of judgment that I've studied that showed lack of understanding of the bench, of the judges involved in those matters. You will know that the person who made that judgment had never stepped into the arena during an election, because the technicalities of the election or how election works is not understandable until you actually know the workings, the number of the ballot papers, the number of the statutory election papers under the law. So you see those judgments and you are wondering whether or not this judge even understands what works. So I will imagine, and this is my advice, that we should have special election courts which can be collapsed after the election, so that we can properly train our judges to understand how election works. Election is a specialty on its own.
That's what the election tribunal is all about.
Yes, election tribunal, you compose them, not necessarily because those guys have expertise in it. That's the point I'm making. So if you decide, especially in the appellate and at the Supreme Court, you decide on special judges who have specialty or knowledge of election, it will help our jurisprudence. Yes. That's just my point.
Yes,
so if you can take that into cognizance, it will help us.
I think that's really valid, and because you cannot act out of experience. You know, when we were talking about the issue of our panel the other time too, I said, look, election is not just what you bring just anybody. If I sit with the chairman of the of INEC, with the vast experience that he has, and I sometimes wonder who will replace this man with the quality of knowledge, the way he handles his job, and you will never find him wanting. So, and one thing we also want to do this time around, because when you make a law, there's what we call the spirit of the law. One, we want to make sure there's less ambiguity in the law, which is very clear. Because when it's ambiguous, that's when some judges will take different stance. Because when you see that, when you look at some law, you know that yes, you've given room to people to use discretion. But so you should be so explicit. So that's what some of the major amendments we are making now, to ensure that every line has a single meaning. And again, by the time we finish, we want to sit with the judiciary to discuss some of these issues. Why did you make this law? What is the spirit behind it? So they know, so that Judge A and Judge B will be on the same page when they have a case. That's why two judges would give the same interpretation to the same section.
The judgment, as far as our law,
and even lawyers, you lawyers too, are part of them now. If lawyers in this house, you start together on just one,
and we give different opinions, and that's why it is important to train the judges. As much
what
as
we are suggesting is also part of the training, because
Absolutely.
if we are inviting them, we sit together and discuss. Because while we are doing these amendments too, we invited them to see what prompted this.
Let me also suggest to you, as part of your oversight, outside of the elections, also invite judges to the field in this by-election. Let them come and see what goes on the field. That will also help them. That's a technical on-site.
With the judiciary,
Judiciary. Relate with them, because it's important. You know, at the end of the day, the consequence of this is that, aside the Constitution and the electoral law, whatever the judges pronounce becomes part of our body of laws. So it's important that whatever they know is being translated into what becomes later that everybody will bow to and obey. So let's go to HB 2173. And this is going to be a very powerful one. The almighty section 285 is going to be amended here. And it's the prayer here is to deleting subsection 2 of section 285 and amending subsection 3 to remove references to the Governorship Election Tribunal and related matters. And why? You said the objective
is to support the first one.
Yeah.
To support the
so everything is interrelated.
239.
Yeah.
To support the 239. Because if you are making the appeal court the court of first instance, then you have to delete it where governorship was mentioned in 285-2.
Yeah.
You have to delete governorship from 285-2. So that was just done.
We need to go on another break, but when we come back, this time around, there are a few more aspects of the electoral review. This one, there's one interesting. I do not agree with that aspect, and I start to debate that with the Honorable when we come back from this break. Whether or not it will help us to actually fix or make sure that there is no rigging in the coming 2027 election. Stay with us. We'll be right back, everyone. Thanks for staying with us. Honorable Bayo Balogun is the chair of the INEC committee on INEC in the House of Representatives. But let me warn, and this is based on the fact that whatever that is being done in the constitutional amendment is, in fact, very critical. Forget the electoral law. If the ones in the constitutional amendment process does not happen, then we have a problem. So that's why it's important that all Nigerians, either you're a political party person, you're a voter, ordinary citizen, this is the kind of agitation that all of us must stand up for. The Constitution Amendment to the effect of our electoral reforms, which they say by December should have been concluded, we need to all rise up and ensure that it happens. If it doesn't happen, electoral Act of 2022 review or amendment is of little consequence. So this process that we're talking about is important, as important as the election of 2027. And by the way, by November, Professor Mahmoud tenure as INEC chairman would be over.
Yeah.
What is NAS, the National Assembly, including the green and the red chambers, what are you doing to ensure that the next person will not be partisan?
You see, that's one of the reasons why I said we should concentrate on other areas now, because this appointment would have taken place before the amendments. Or the amendments. So that will not now be taking the cart before the horse. So what I believe we should be doing, just like what you just done now, it's for serious advocacy on some of these bills, because some people don't even really take some of these sections very seriously. I think we need to send copies of some of these amendments even in the Constitution and in the Act to some of the media houses. Hype some of these things. Let people know, because it's not just for you to say we want one-day election. Yeah. We want elections to be concluded before, litigation to be concluded. There are processes. There are
what
part
Nigerians
of the law.
want, Honorable, is that when you queue up and you vote, see, and your vote counts.
When we're talking about the law, it's about them. Because when during the public hearing, if people don't turn out, because by the time after the public hearing, it is the view of the people that will determine the voting pattern during the third reading.
Don't make the public hearing surreptitious. Don't make it hidden. Put it, spend money, advertise it. I'm challenging you and your committee, and that of the Senate.
Haven't I sent it to you?
You've sent it to me.
All the media houses.
Advertise it. Spend money to put it everywhere. The way you advertise all other your apologies, the jamborees, this one is critical. Advertise this one. Let all Nigerians hear and see
what is
done.
Make use of your CSR too.
What
we are Nigerians. We really want to
we're spending 1 hour of quality time on television to discuss what we did as important.
What I'm saying is
the CSR
bringing people to talk about those issues.
Yeah.
Issues, all the items in the Constitution, the amendment. Because it's not just taken generally now. There are bills already passed. It's the bills that we'll be discussing now. People should not be talking generally. We should be taking the bills. I'm sure today now you saw some of those amendments we discussed. These are key things.
What concerns me now is transmission.
That's section.
Nigerians, that's the sixth
section 65.
Yes.
We've amended that subsection to now read: the presiding officer shall transmit the results, including total number of accredited voters, to the next level of collation, both electronically and manually, because it has been moved from transfer now to transmit.
Before now,
it used to be transfer. Okay. Shall transfer now. Shall transmit the result, including total number of accredited voters, to the next level of collation, both electronically and manually.
So then it also gives
it. Yeah. You have your copy that you are.
So taking. It's not giving INEC discretion any longer, because it used to be to give INEC the discretion to determine how to do it. But now it's been enshrined in the Constitution that this is how you shall do it.
And that was what they did in 2023. The last one, the issue was some of them didn't go real time. That's it. You see, let's make it clear to people. As you conclude your result sheet, you snap it with the Beavers machine and then send. That's the transmission.
Yeah, but let me say
and to go to the RF.
Don't let us go too far. You oversight INEC. Yeah. As INEC fixed their server, as INEC fixed their system, have they upgraded the operating system of the computer that...
You know what is happening? What happened in JAM and happened in WAEC? And you see, when it comes to electronics...
When it comes to Nigeria...
No, everywhere in the world,
at the critical moment, things just start to happen.
Wait. You see, we've been talking about compulsory inclusion of NIN in the voters' card.
Yeah. Some
people resisted it, and we said, no, we should go ahead. But it got to a period. By the time I was assessing the preparedness of NIMSI, working together with INEC to get this on board, we got to a stage that we find out that, look, we can't make it compulsory again because the time is no longer...
INEC record is higher than that of NIMSI. As of the last election. So it's almost impossible. Because INEC, at the 2023 election, INEC had the largest record of Nigerians, or largest database of Nigerians.
That's what we are talking about. Because you have to now, because before you make the law, you look at practicability of that law. How visible is it? So we now say that, okay.
My question here is, you oversight INEC. You provide, you approve their funding. Have they fixed their system, their back end? Did you
said the other time, it was like people were trying to hack.
Have they developed the firewall not to hack it? We saw what happened in South Africa. In one room, on one dashboard, we were seeing results.
In South Africa.
I
was there in South Africa.
Yes.
I was there. Yeah. In South Africa, they hacked their system. They could no longer use they have to in Ghana, they have to in Kenya. In South Africa, they have to move from electronics to manual accreditation. Because by 10 o'clock, within 2 hours, they started 7 o'clock, within 3 hours, they had problem. And they had to move to manual. If you do that in Nigeria, there will be crisis.
But we agree, machines
in fact, even the early vote in South Africa.
But when Nigeria, let me tell you something, Honorable, and we'll close on
this. Let's just say this one. Let me say this one. Even the early vote that we are working on now, the storage where they kept their vote, there was attempt to break into the storage.
We'll go. I remember there was a year, and that's, I think, the re-election of Aregbesola in Osun State. There's what they call Okefia. At the roundabout in Okefia, if anybody knows Osogbo very well, there was a billboard, an LED screen where they were displaying results. It was difficult for anybody to rig the election because everybody was looking at how they were imputing the results from one of the political party center. I am saying this is for transparency. Okay. If you need to work on INEC to ensure they work with the best tech company in the world to ensure that that is not hacked. But time is not on our side.
We shall all be on their neck.
Please, and we'll be on your neck too, Honorable. But thank you so much indeed for coming tonight. I appreciate
it. Welcome.
Well, that's our show for tonight, everyone. We'll keep pushing to get the best. I'm sure Akimale. God bless Nigeria.